I want to begin with a straightforward question. If I presented you with two options right now. Option A, instantly win the lottery today and become a millionaire. Option B, get better by just 1% every single day for the next 5 years. Which one would you choose? Most people would immediately pick the lottery, and that's understandable. Who has the patience to wait 5 years? However, here's the fascinating and slightly amusing part. If you pick the lottery, there's a high probability that in 5 years you will have lost all that money. Why? Because you won the jackpot without developing the skills or the mindset to manage it. But if you choose steady self-improvement, you won't only possess millions, you will also acquire the kind of mentality that generates millions repeatedly. You see, true success is never about hitting that huge sudden jackpot. It's about the small things you enhance daily. These are very small, tiny actions, but they are done on a consistent basis. This principle is often called the 1% rule. Think of it mathematically. If you improve by 1% every day for a year, you end up 37 times better than when you started. That's not small. That is a revolutionary change. Now let me share something personal with you. People frequently ask me about the secret to being successful. And I always chuckle because there isn't one grand, hidden secret whispered in a secret society. The true secret is actually quite ordinary and almost boring. It is concealed within your regular everyday habits. It is the absolute absence of a secret. Consider this. Michael Jordan didn't become the greatest basketball player simply because he scored 60 points one afternoon in a huge game. No, he achieved greatness because he dedicated thousands of days to perfecting minor details. His free throws, his movement on the court, his footwork, his defense, even when he was alone long after the coaches had gone home and nobody was watching him practice. And yet, we live in a society where everyone is searching for quick fixes. We want success to be like instant food. Just add hot liquid, wait a couple of minutes, and it's magically ready. But real life doesn't operate this way. Life rewards the persistent. You must enhance just a few things every day, and eventually, this relentless consistency means you become unstoppable. Therefore, today I want to share 5 essential areas you absolutely must improve every day if you are truly serious about altering your life. Not next week, not next month, but every single day. The very first area is this. Enhance your clarity. You observe that most individuals wake up each morning with no definite idea of their purpose. They check their mobile device. They browse the internet. They eat breakfast. They go to work. And then at the end of the day they complain that life feels dull, that they are not moving forward. My friend, if you are living in this manner, you are not truly living. You are merely existing. You are a passenger in your own life. Clarity signifies knowing exactly what you desire. Every single day, you should make your understanding of your objectives, your direction, and your personal principles sharper. This isn't just about setting a big goal like, I want to be rich. It's about knowing, I want to earn $150,000 annually by creating a product that helps 10,000 small businesses solve problem X. That level of detail is clarity. Think about it for a moment. Would you ever get into a taxi, sit down comfortably, and when the driver asks for your destination, you simply respond, just drive anywhere? Of course not. You'd waste time, energy, and money and end up frustrated. But this is precisely the way countless people conduct their lives. Moving quickly but without any fixed destination. They confuse motion with progress. Do you recall what Albert Einstein once famously stated? He said, if you are unable to explain something in a simple way, you do not fully grasp it yourself. The same principle applies to your life's path. If you cannot describe what you want in just one sentence, you don't understand your own deepest aspirations well enough. So here is a quick practical exercise you can attempt tonight. Look at your reflection in the mirror and genuinely ask yourself, what is the real reason I am doing this? If your answer is vague or sounds like, well, because everyone else is doing the same thing, then congratulations. You have just identified the primary reason you feel stuck. You are living by default, not by design. Improving your clarity means eliminating unnecessary distractions. It means understanding what truly matters and choosing to ignore everything else. Steve Jobs was well known for always wearing the same black top every day. Why did he do this? He publicly stated it was because he didn't want to spend any mental energy deciding on his clothing. He sought clarity. He reserved his mental power for the issues that were truly significant, like design and innovation. That is a disciplined commitment to clarity. So my friend, the number one thing you must improve daily is your clarity. Write down your main objectives every morning. Review them again every night. Ask yourself honestly, am I moving nearer to what I want, or am I just moving? Because always remember this key point. Movement is not the same as forward progress. A rocking horse is in motion all day long, but it never actually reaches a new location. Do not be the rocking horse. Define your destination. Now that you comprehend the significance of enhancing your clarity every day, let us move on to discussing the second crucial area you must improve daily. This one is what separates those who dream from those who actually accomplish. Enhance your discipline. Pay very close attention to this because it is controversial. Motivation is ultimately worthless without solid discipline. Yes, I genuinely mean that. Motivation is like a shot of sweetness. It provides you with a quick burst of energy for a brief period, but then it quickly disappears when the weather changes or your alarm goes off early. Discipline, however, is like the air you breathe. It keeps you alive and moving forward, even when you absolutely do not feel like continuing. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Here is the uncomfortable truth that few people wish to acknowledge. Most people do not fail because they lack intelligence or talent. They fail because they cannot maintain consistency over a long enough duration. They have the motivation to start, but not the discipline to continue. Reflect on your own experience. How many times have you started something new with great excitement? I am going to the fitness center every day. I will read for 30 minutes daily. I am definitely launching my own company this year. And then just a couple of weeks later, you are sitting at home watching television with a snack bag, promising yourself, I will definitely begin again on Monday. We laugh about it, but we have all done this before. That is exactly why discipline must be a daily practice, not just a one-time resolution. You have to practice showing up. Allow me to share a short story. Elon Musk once mentioned that when he was constructing the SpaceX company, he would sleep directly on the factory floor and use the office facilities to wash up. Why such extreme dedication? Because rockets don't care about your personal mood. They require precise mathematics, accuracy, and rigorous discipline. And when the Tesla company was nearing financial ruin, he did not decide, I am not feeling particularly inspired today. He showed up and worked hard every single day regardless. That right there is discipline in action. Here is the blunt reality. If you only put in effort when you feel emotionally ready to do so, you will never achieve anything more than an average existence. You will be perpetually waiting for a feeling that may never come. So how exactly do you go about improving your discipline on a daily basis? Start with very small, manageable promises to yourself. Tell yourself, I will read just 2 pages today. And then make sure you do it. I will exercise for just 10 minutes. Do it. I will wake up 10 minutes earlier than usual. Do it. The actual size of the promise is irrelevant. The crucial factor is the consistency and the act of keeping that commitment to yourself. Once you teach your brain to keep these tiny commitments, it starts to trust you with tackling much larger ones. You build self-trust. Another very effective strategy is to arrange things so that discipline is simpler than giving in to distraction. This is called designing your environment. For instance, if your goal is to read more books, place a book right on your sleeping pillow. If you want to exercise, pack your workout attire the evening before and put your shoes by the door. If you aim to stop wasting time on your mobile phone, keep it in a different room while you are engaged in work. Discipline is not about acting like a machine. It is about intentionally arranging your surroundings to make good decisions feel automatic. And let me state this very clearly and loudly. Discipline holds more value than natural talent. I have witnessed ordinary people surpass brilliant thinkers simply because they consistently kept going when everyone else gave up. There is a saying I particularly admire. Hard work will defeat natural talent when that natural talent refuses to put in the hard work. So if you ever feel that you are not gifted enough, not smart enough, or not fortunate enough, that is fine, because none of those things truly matter if you possess discipline. And here is the interesting twist. Once discipline becomes a routine behavior, it no longer feels like a struggle. It just integrates into who you are as a person. It becomes a part of your identity. People will look at your achievements and comment, wow, you have so much motivation. But you will know the real answer. It is not motivation. It is discipline constructed day by day, piece by piece. Therefore, remember this principle. Clarity tells you where your destination is. Discipline ensures you actually travel the road to get there. We have discussed the importance of clarity, which is knowing your direction. We have covered discipline, which is performing the necessary work even when you lack the desire. Now let us talk about the third essential area you must improve every day. Enhance your communication skills. Listen very carefully to this. Your bright ideas, your unique abilities, your profound dreams, they are all meaningless if you are incapable of expressing them clearly to others. You cannot climb a ladder you haven't explained to anyone. How often have you observed someone who was less skilled, less qualified, and perhaps even less hardworking, yet they still secured the promotion, the valuable contract, or the public recognition? Why did this happen? Because they were masters of communication. The unfortunate reality is that the world does not reward the absolute best ideas. The world rewards the ideas that are communicated with the greatest skill. Now, do not misunderstand communication to mean speaking a lot. Some individuals believe that if they talk constantly, they are expert communicators. Absolutely not. That behavior is simply irritating and self-centered. Effective communication is about being easily understood, speaking with assurance, and connecting authentically with others. It's about being concise. Let me provide a clear example. Picture yourself seated in a dining establishment, and your server approaches the table. You ask, "What dishes are recommended here?" And the server replies, Everything is pretty good. Maybe the poultry dish, but the fish is also all right. Though some customers do prefer the pasta. By the time they finish their rambling, your desire to eat has vanished, and you are more confused than before. Now imagine a different server who says, "Sir, madam, based on what you ordered last time, if you want something light, I suggest the grilled seafood. If you are extremely hungry, I recommend the beef cut. It is the finest in the area." Boom. Clear. Confident. Finished. They offered a choice and a recommendation. That is highly effective communication. And let us be honest with ourselves. Most of us are very poor communicators. We use far too many words. We speak in circles, or we focus the conversation entirely on ourselves, waiting for our turn to speak instead of listening. Improving your communication daily means consciously practicing the subtle skill of forming a genuine connection with other people. Here is a simple technique you can begin using today. Develop the habit of telling stories. People do not remember statistics. They remember compelling narratives. Martin Luther King Jr. did not say, "I have a detailed strategic plan for social justice." He declared, "I have a dream." And that statement had the power to inspire an entire nation because it created a vivid picture in the mind. Another excellent technique is to listen much more than you talk. Truly great communicators are not great because they speak beautifully. They are great because they make the person they are talking to feel genuinely heard and understood. They are present in the moment. Think about the last time you had a conversation where someone gave you their complete, undivided attention, putting down their phone, looking you in the eye. Did you not feel wonderful afterward? That is the quiet power embedded in communication. The power to make others feel valued. Now here is a rather funny fact. Most of us are more terrified of giving a public speech than we are of actually dying. Studies indicate that at a funeral service, a majority of people would actually prefer to be inside the casket than to be the one delivering the eulogy. But the only reliable method to overcome that immense fear is through practice. Communicate every day. Speak up and offer your input during professional meetings. Share your concepts and thoughts. Even if your voice trembles a little, each time you practice, your fear diminishes and your self-assurance expands. The trembling voice is just your body getting used to a new skill. And remember this important point. Improving communication is not solely for formal speeches or business negotiations. It applies to all of life. Your personal relationships, your friendships, your professional career. They will all succeed or fail based on the effectiveness of your communication. Think of it this way. Clarity provides you with a path. Discipline keeps your feet moving along that path. But communication is the key that unlocks the doors along the route. So every day work on improving how you speak, how you listen, and how you connect with others. Because the people who ultimately change the world are not just those with huge ideas. They are the individuals who can present those ideas in a manner that inspires others to believe in them. So we have covered clarity, discipline, and communication. Now we arrive at the fourth crucial area you must improve every single day. Enhance your ability to control your emotions. Allow me to ask you this question. Have you ever quickly sent a message when you were angry, and then immediately wished you had the power to reverse time just to erase it forever? Yes, me too. We have all been there. Here is the profound truth. A failure to control one's emotions has caused the destruction of more relationships, more businesses, and more successful careers than any lack of ability ever has. Think about it thoroughly. You might be the most brilliant person in the room, but if you cannot manage your feelings of anger, anxiety, envy, or intense stress, you will inevitably make foolish and regrettable choices. Even the most successful leaders throughout history were not necessarily the physically strongest or the most intellectually gifted. They were the ones who retained their calmness amidst the greatest disorder. They knew the difference between a feeling and a fact. Look closely at competitive sports. Do you remember when a high-profile athlete lost an important game and the media sharply criticized their reaction? Throwing a racket, yelling at a referee? People were not judging their talent. They were judging their capacity for emotional control. This is because emotional responses are often more noticeable and more damaging than technical skills. One moment of rage can undo years of hard work. Let me give you one more illustration. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 attempts while trying to perfect the electric light bulb. If he had given up after only 50 failed attempts, driven by frustration and emotional exhaustion, today you and I would likely still be in the dark, using flickering candles. Emotional control is what kept him in the game. He didn't see the failures as reasons to quit, but as necessary data points. Emotional control is not about never experiencing upset, never feeling scared, or never feeling jealous. No, it is about learning to choose your response rather than automatically reacting. It is the space between the stimulus and the response. Here is an easy daily exercise. When something causes you distress, a difficult email, a critical comment, do not immediately reply. Do not immediately raise your voice. Do not immediately take action. Just stop, take a deep breath, and count slowly to 10. Sometimes that minuscule pause is enough to protect your job, preserve your friendship, or even save your marriage. That pause gives your rational brain a chance to engage. Another powerful technique is to actively guard your personal energy. If you spend time with individuals who complain constantly, who are always victims, you will begin to complain constantly too. You will absorb their emotional state. If you spend endless hours scrolling through social media, comparing your life to everyone else's carefully curated highlight reel, you will feel unhappy. Improve your emotional control by strictly managing your personal environment and the people you let into it. And here is a slightly humorous perspective. When you engage in a loud argument with a foolish person from a distance, onlookers cannot easily determine which person is the fool. Therefore, sometimes the wisest action you can take is simply to walk away calmly. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Daily improvement in emotional control means providing your brain with practice. Just as you exercise your body, you do not visit the gym just once and proclaim, "That is it. I am fit forever." No, you exercise routinely. The same principle applies to your emotions every single day. Practice being patient. Practice being grateful. Practice letting small irritations pass without engaging. If a driver cuts you off in traffic, do not waste the next hour screaming internally in your vehicle. Instead, just smile and think, "Thank you for providing me with a lesson in self-control, stranger." Because here is the liberating truth. The stronger your emotional control becomes, the less ability the outside world has to influence you negatively, and the less power the world holds over you, the more truly free you become as a person. You become your own master. So remember, clarity shows the direction. Discipline keeps you progressing. Communication successfully opens the doors. But emotional control ensures you do not accidentally destroy everything while walking through those open doors. So far we have discussed 4 essential areas to improve daily: clarity, discipline, communication, and emotional control. Now comes the 5th and final area, and without this one, all the others would ultimately fail. Enhance your ability to learn new things and adjust quickly. Let me pose a final question to you. If you were still using the same mobile phone model from 2005, would you be able to function effectively in today's world? Imagine the futility of attempting to install a modern video application on an ancient phone. It is impossible. Yet, Many people are attempting to manage their personal lives and professional careers using outdated mental models that have not been revised in many years. They are running modern software on old hardware. The world is evolving at a rapid pace every single day. If you stop learning and fail to adjust, you will inevitably be left behind. It is that simple. This is true in every industry, every relationship, and every personal skill. Do you recall the history of a company like Kodak? They once utterly dominated the entire photography industry, but they stubbornly refused to embrace digital camera technology. In fact, they invented the digital camera and then ignored it, protecting their film business. They are now gone. Do you remember the video rental chain Blockbuster? They once scoffed at the idea of Netflix's mail-order service. They are now gone. The lesson is abundantly clear. It is not the biggest or the physically strongest who ultimately survive. It is the organisms or the people who can adjust and adapt the most rapidly. And here is the interesting point. Most people wrongly assume that learning completely stops after their formal education concludes. They graduate. They discard their textbooks and they happily declare, finally, no more studying is necessary. But life does not operate that way at all. The actual examination of life begins the day you finish school. And it is a test that never truly ends. Every single day, you must increase your general knowledge, refine your existing skills, and broaden your personal viewpoint. Read books, listen to informative discussions, keenly observe your surroundings, ask intelligent questions, and try new experiences. This doesn't require a university degree. You can dedicate only 10 minutes per day. Make sure you learn one new thing. Because the more knowledge you gain, the more invaluable you become to the world. And the more flexible and adaptable you are, the more difficult it will be for life's challenges to truly defeat you. Think about the natural resilience of bamboo. It bends gently when the strong winds blow, instead of resisting. It doesn't actually snap or break. That remarkable quality is adaptability. It is simultaneously strong yet pliable, and truly unstoppable. Strive to be like the bamboo plant, bend without breaking. Here is a very practical piece of advice. Every evening before you rest, genuinely ask yourself this question. What specific thing did I discover today that I was completely unaware of yesterday? If your answer is genuinely nothing new, then that day was fundamentally unproductive, and you allowed your software to get a little bit older. And do not restrict your learning to just books. Gain knowledge from people you meet, from the mistakes you make, from the failures you endure, and from your own accumulated personal experiences. Mistakes are certainly costly lessons, but they are also the kind of lessons that remain with you permanently. A lesson learned through failure is often a lesson never forgotten. Now I will conclude my thoughts. If you commit to improving these 5 areas daily, the clarity of your objectives, the discipline to execute, the communication to connect with others, the emotional control to maintain your balance, and the continuous learning to keep expanding, then I guarantee you that 5 years from now, you will reflect on your past and hardly recognize the person you used to be. This is because true success is not a single monumental leap. It is composed of thousands of tiny deliberate steps taken every day in the correct direction. That 1% improvement compounding on itself. So stop looking for instant shortcuts. Do not passively wait for the single perfect opportunity. Begin the process of improving yourself today, even if it is only a mere 1% better than before. Because eventually people will look at your success and exclaim, "Wow, how did you completely transform your entire life? You must be so lucky." And you will simply smile knowingly because you will understand the true method. It was not one huge sweeping change. It was 5 fundamental improvements diligently made every single day. The secret is that there is no secret. Thank you for listening so attentively.